Faf, so have you looked at the pitch at all? What are you expecting?
It looks good. I think a standard Newlands wicket to be expected. A little bit in it for both, so I think it'll be a fair contest between bat and ball. But yeah, the similar normal Newlands wicket that you can expect.
Faf, have you settled on an 11?
Not yet. As always, when I get to you guys, you ask me this question before we get time to chat to the selector. So we've got 13 in mind. Obviously, we've got Temba who's ready to go again. So it's between him and Tennis, and then also a decision between Morne and Lungi, which one we think will be better for the conditions.
Faf, can you confirm any of those that you've sent home already or will be sending home? And obviously for a guy like Temba, the monumental aspect behind where he got his first 100 to obviously return, and obviously given that there's still 2 more matches.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of confidence in Temba. We know he's a high quality player, and obviously hasn't had a lot of cricket under his belt, but the quality is there. So as you rightly say, it's a good ground for him. So he'll reflect on that confidence and just bring it back into the game. And then the change, or the guys going home, there's a few, I think. So Morris is going home, and Olivier is the 2 going back. So then obviously, depending on the toss tomorrow, or when the toss happens, we'll send the rest of the guys back because they want to play in the 4-day games.
Have you seen the comments that Stephen Smith made earlier about the Rabada hearing, and so basically saying that he was quite surprised, first of all, not being called on as a witness, but also that a new precedent has been set, and that maybe Australia would also consider appealing some decisions in future? That's not a brief summary.
I think it's really good for the game. I don't see a problem with having a fair system where a neutral guy sits and makes a decision and listens to both parties. I was there at that hearing, and I said to our people that even if we didn't win that case, that I was very impressed with the judge and how he listened to both sides, and he was very fair in the questions that he asked. So I think that process is really good. You should have a platform if you feel you've not done something wrong, where you can have someone that sits in the middle and has a fair, objective point of view of listening to both sides and then making decisions. So I think that process is really good. So I think it's fair. It's in the same in any, I think, business and stuff like that. If you feel you want to, I suppose you can call it, take them to court, there's a fair process.
Faf, there's 3 of you in this game within 1 point of a ban now, and you're the longest serving member of that club. Is that something that hangs over your head, or do you think about it?
Yeah, I wish that I had this judge with me in Australia. But he's sitting on 1 point as well. Look, for me, it's not an issue. I don't feel like as I said, I don't push those boundaries at all. So it's not a worrying thing for me. Yeah, but there's 1 or 2 guys that it's important now they're on their best behaviour. As I said, there's always 1 or 2 guys in a team that is probably flirting with the line a bit more. So from our point of view, it's making sure that those guys are on a shorter leash, if you can say that way.
Faf, can you expand a little bit on that Morne Lungi selection in terms of what they both bring and how the conditions factor into what kind of decision you'll end up making?
Yeah, I mean, Lungi bowled really well the previous game. He's also got a little bit of a toe problem, which is probably why the consideration is happening between the 2 of them. I don't know exactly what it is, but it is bothering him. I mean, it is keeping him back a little bit. So if he's not 100%, then it's obviously a very easy decision for us. But what counts in Morne's favour is he's a very fit bowler. He can bowl long spells, and that's really important, I think, going to this Test match, especially if we have only 3 seamers and a spinner. We'll have our 3 bowlers that's got the biggest tank when it comes to bowling a lot of overs.
Faf, just something about the Australian bowling attack. We saw what they did in the Ashes, and obviously, has that been part of the plan to sort of wear them out? Stark had to pass of fitnesses, Mitchell Marches. Is that something to get into a second new ball? They're all big, strong guys. They've been running in to try and wear them out? And
I think, I mean, that's always the plan with no matter who you play, is to try and push them into their third and fourth spells. But certainly if you've got a team that's got very, very good fast bowlers, I mean, you can't run in and bowl 150 the whole day and even 2 days if you keep coming back and coming back. So that was the thing that we did well in the second test. We pushed those bowlers to bowl longer spells to come back for more, and then it's human that you'll be 5% or 2% lower in the tank than you were initially. And then in Durban we couldn't do that, and that's why they kept firing. So definitely, that's if you want to beat this Australian team, you need to make sure that you push them into their reserve tanks as a bowling unit.
Faf, there's quite a bit of euphoria among the fans after the Rabada decision, and at the same time, you've also got to keep in mind the series is still 1-1, and off-field issues aside, it's a massive test match ahead of Wanderers. How are you keeping the feet on the ground and keeping focused with all this excitement?
I must say, in the team, it hasn't felt like it is. I know there's a big hype away from the game, but I do feel like within the team, it's not. I don't feel like it's got to the team space quite yet. The guys are still really focused, really motivated, and as you say, the series has been very good. Two quality teams trying to compete against each other, and it's been great cricket. So it's obviously setting up nicely in Newlands 1-1. And the same thing, you know, if you look at the last two games, if there's an hour or hour and a half where a team slips up, the teams are so strong that they push ahead in the game.
Faf, a guy like Temba hasn't played for a couple of months, and there's obviously the sort of continuing questions and talk about Dale Steyn coming back as well. As captain, what is your view on guys coming back into the team having not played any cricket? Is that something you feel strongly about, or not much really?
I think it's different for batsmen than it is to bowlers. I know ideal world, you'd like guys to play cricket. That's the ideal world. You'd like guys to come back after injury, play 1 or 2 games, get themselves back into form, or just time in the middle. But it doesn't always work like that, you know. Not always there's games available. I mean, myself as an example, didn't have. I was under the time there wasn't enough time for me to play a game before the first test after my injury. So it's not always that you get an ideal world. So Temba, yes, he hasn't played cricket, but that's more for him as to the mental side of things, that he hasn't played any cricket, but he looks good in the nets. He's been looking good in the nets for a while, and his hand is now fully recovered. And I think with a bowler, you know, you got to look at the different individual. You mentioned Dale, that Dale is probably on the side now of a little bit more cautious. He has been injured now, so for him it would probably be a little bit more important to try and get back and play a game, to get through a 4-day game at least, to see that he can bowl quite a bit of overs, and then when he gets through that, then obviously straight back into the mix.
There's been a bit of a contrast in the series between you guys have been able to keep Steve fairly quiet at the crease. You know, obviously he hasn't made big runs, but also.
You just am I touching wood or are you touching wood?
From AB, from your side's perspective, AB is able to get away to quick starts and get that momentum going up quickly. You know, what's been the key to you keeping Steve quiet, and does that change at all in these conditions relative to the first two?
No, it's the same principle. I think with all good players, you want to try and make sure that you make it as tough as possible for them, especially that first hour or first 15-20 balls. They are just a little bit better than normal players, so if you get them going quickly, they kickstart the innings very, very quickly. So for me as a captain, it's important that how we start against him. And in the previous game, I think that he was on 1 or 15 balls or something like that. So it's just about making sure you particularly concentrating when you're bowling that first few balls at him, to make him not get off to that fluent innings, to make his innings get going. But he's a very good player, so I'm sure he'd be very, very hungry for runs this test match.
Just from a point where you would attend all these hearings as well, along with KD and Doc, and I mean, it was Quinton, and then it was Nath Rabada, and how much strain does it put on you as a captain for you to focus on your game? We saw you climbing lions here and stuff. Is that what you do too?
It does take time. I mean, that's an honest reflection. It takes a lot of time, and the hearing was a lot of time. but I see that as part of my role as captain. You need to stand by your team. That's your role. You got to back your players up. So I'll do that to the best of my ability. And if I can have 1% of influence on that, then great. But it's more just to show that I'm there with them. And then it's crucial that you still try and find a couple of minutes to find your own space. But that's the challenge that all captains have. They have to balance the two of your own. As a player, you're only really focusing on your own game. And as a captain, you're focusing on 11. But I'm used to that, and I enjoy that. So there's no complaints.
Faf, you said it was a very fair hearing where you had both sides of the story. If Steve Smith didn't speak to the hearing, can you actually describe it a bit more?
You got to ask Steve Smith. What did he? I don't know. What did he say?
Well, I mean, he wasn't called. He wasn't asked to speak to the hearing. So in that case, both sides actually lied.
Well, he wasn't charged though. So if he was charged, probably he would have asked. But KG was charged, so it's probably just his understand. You know, he's defending himself, and then a judge has got to decide if he sees that it was intentional. You know, even nothing that I was going to say was going to have any impact on that. He didn't even listen to a word. I wasn't even needed to talk. So his pure decision was made on he's the deciding factor in if it was on purpose or not.